Today, we will be discussing episode number 14 from Surah Al-Imran. We will start with verse 130, which says, "O you who have believed, do not consume usury, doubled and multiplied, and fear Allah, so that you may prosper." The truth is, the reason for the revelation of this verse is that, back in the days of the Prophet, in Quraysh, Mecca, and Medina, and all of this was because they used to trade with usury. What does it mean, with usury? It means that a poor person would go to buy meat, barley, or whatever it might be. So, for example, he would give him something for 1 dirham today, and the buyer would say, "I'll pay you back in a week." Then the seller would say, "In that case, it will be 1.5 dirhams. So, this verse was revealed as a warning. He says, "O you who believe, do not consume usury, doubled and multiplied. Do not increase the price just because of the delay, just because of postponement." So that's how the whole process worked. Who says this? Those who say this are Al-Qurtubi, Ibn Kathir, and Al-Sadi, all three, say that this is the reason for the revelation. The second point in the verse, after the reason for revelation, is what does it say? "And fear Allah so that you may prosper." That makes sense. Fear Allah, and do not deal in usury or sell on credit, and all that, so that you may succeed. It makes sense. But when you come and say to me, "Fear Allah so that you may be grateful," in the previous episode, that's the truth. I raised a question about that, because a person can thank Allah without fearing him. It's normal. There's no problem. So here, what was the point? When he said, last time, if you remember, in verse 13:3, "Fear Allah so that you may be grateful." So I said, does one fear Allah in order to thank him? That's the idea. But here, the words make perfect sense. I mean, I understand it, I can grasp it. Fear Allah, so that you may prosper. All right. The third point is that this verse has absolutely nothing to do with the previous verses, because we were talking about the Battle of Badr and the Muslims' victory in it, and the Battle of Uhud and the Muslims' defeat in it. And now we've started discussing a completely separate topic here, about usury. Deferred sales. All right, 131. And fear the fire. Now, pay attention to the connection in these verses. This whole episode, the 10 or 11 verses that we're going to discuss, they're all connected to each other. So, look at what it says. "O you who believe, do not consume usury, doubled and multiplied." And look at what the following verse says. "And fear the fire, prepared for the disbelievers." There's a connection here. Don't consume usury. And fear the fire, which has been prepared for whom? For those people who deal in usury. So, don't consume usury, and be mindful it's all linked. And the next verse is connected to it as well. And the one after that is also connected to it. This is a situation. Honestly, I'm really pleased in this episode. Honestly, I feel at ease with the clear connection here. And fear the fire which has been prepared for the disbelievers. Fear the fire, that's a warning and a threat to those who sell on credit, legitimize usury, and increase prices for people because of delays and all these things. Who says this? Al-Qurtubi and Al-Tabari. The question here is the usurer a human being? I mean, is the one who consumes usury considered a disbeliever? I just want to understand the story, what exactly is being said. And fear the fire, which has been prepared for the disbelievers. He describes those who consume usury in the previous verse. In this verse, he describes them as disbelievers. 132. He says, "And obey Allah and the Messenger so that you may receive mercy." There are, in fact, two opinions regarding the meaning of this verse. All right, what does the first opinion say? It says, "Obey Allah" means obey him in his prohibition of usury, and obey the Prophet in his conveying of this prohibition. Obey God and obey the Messenger. Obey the one who issued the command, and obey the one who conveyed the command. Who says this? Al-Qurtubi. The second opinion says no, it wasn't about usury at all. It was actually a reproach from Allah to the group who disobeyed the Prophet during the Battle of Uhud, because he told them, "Stay on top of the mountain. You are the archers. and protect our rear. Protect it. You are our rear guard. Protect our backs. And don't let anyone get through this spot. But they left their positions and got distracted by the spoils. As soon as signs of victory appeared, the polytheists came round at them from another direction. So this verse was a reproach to them, which is obey Allah and obey the messenger. That's absolutely true. I mean, I see that. This is me now. I'm the one speaking. I think that obedience is due to the one who issues the command, because the one who conveys the command does not need obedience. You're just passing it on. Either I will obey the one who gave the command, or I won't obey. That is, conveying the message itself doesn't require obedience. What actually requires obedience is the command itself, not its delivery. That's the point I'm making. Allah is the one who issued the command. The Prophet conveyed the command very well. I will obey the one who issued the command. That's the whole story. Because the one who gave the command isn't the Prophet. The Prophet only conveyed it. His role is limited to conveying it. I don't know. You keep telling me, obey Allah and the Messenger. Obey the Messenger in what, exactly? I don't understand. This is verse 13:3. And hasten. Look, the connection is clear, and obey Allah and the Messenger, and hasten towards forgiveness from your Lord and a paradise as vast as the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous. Pay attention, because the next part also goes on to say, the righteous are those who spend. See the connection there. So, for what reason? I mean, so now you already know that there is a link between 13 and 130, prepared for the righteous, those who spend in prosperity and adversity. There's a clear connection. Let's go back again to 133, where it says, and hasten to forgiveness from your Lord and a garden as wide as the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous. And the people of Sham and Medina recited it as hasten to forgiveness from your Lord without the WA, and, in any case, they recited it without the WA. Who says this? That the people of Sham and Medina recited it without the WA. Al-Baghawi and Al-Qurtubi. Alright, so what is the reason for the revelation of this verse? That the Jews, what does that mean? They asked Umar ibn al-Khattab, saying to him, if paradise is as wide as the heavens and the earth, then where is the fire, hell? Alright, so Umar was very clever. He said to them, when night comes, where does the day go? And when day comes, where does the night go? They said to him, we have something similar in the Torah, 134, where it says, those who spend in prosperity and adversity, the righteous, as mentioned in 133 and 134. Those who spend, the righteous. Those who spend in prosperity and adversity, who restrain their anger, and who pardon people, and Allah loves the doors of good. This verse is an explanation of the previous one. Who are the righteous? They are the ones who think in times of prosperity and adversity, and I have no questions or anything about this. Let's move on straight away. All right. 135. And those, pay attention, the righteous are those who spend, and those right. There's an excellent connection here. And those who, when they commit an indecency or wrong themselves, remember Allah and seek forgiveness for their sins, and who forgives sins except Allah, and do not persist in what they have done, while they know. All right, lovely. So, what does it say? There are 3 reasons for revelation for this verse, 3 all at once. And, by the way, the 3 have absolutely nothing to do with each other, meaning each reason is completely different from the others. So, what are the 3 reasons? The believers said to him, O Messenger of Allah, the children of Israel are more honored by Allah than us. The Prophet remained silent, and then this verse was revealed. What does more honored mean? It means, are they more truthful with Allah than us? Whoever among them committed a crime would hang a confession on his door. I mean, cut your nose and ear. That is, after committing a crime, he would hang something of himself, or put up a sign, or an announcement on the door, as if to say, I have committed a sin against Allah. So, what does this mean? So the Prophet remained silent when the believers, or the Muslims, said this to him. They said to him, the Jews are more honored by Allah than us, or more truthful with Allah in admitting their crimes than we are. He remained silent, and then the verse was revealed. That's the first reason. The second reason is that it was revealed about a man named Nabhan al-Tama. Nabhan used to sell dates. I mean, he is not alert. The last name is al-Tama. No, his name is Nabhan and he sells dates. Just like you'd say so-and-so the mechanic. So this Nabhan, the date seller, a beautiful woman came to him while he was selling dates in the market, and then a woman came to him who was, let's say, a bit alluring. So he said to her, I have better dates at home. The ones I'm selling here aren't that good, and I want to look after you and give you the best goods. She said to him, let's go to your house. He took her and went, and then he tried it on with her, but she refused, and said to him, fear God. Anyway, sir, he regretted what he had done, and went to the Prophet and told him what had happened. He said, a woman came to me, a decent sort, wanting to buy some dates from what I was selling in the market. I told her, these dates aren't good. I wanted to lure her in. I took her home, hugged her, but she refused. I regretted it. Then the verse was revealed, and that's it. Of course, just so you know, I forgot to mention that the one who gave the first reason, that the believers were saying to the Prophet that the Jews were more honored by God than us, or more truthful with God in admitting their wrongdoing, was Al-Tabari. The story of Nabhan the date seller, which Al-Baghawi mentioned, he said that the reason for the verse was that this Sheikh Nabhan, or Mr. Nabhan, took the woman and tried it on with her. When she refused and told him, fear God, he regretted what he had done, and went to tell the Prophet. So the verse was revealed. That's the second reason. The third reason is similar to the second. A man from Tarkif was going off to battle. So he spoke to one of his friends from the Ansar and said to him, I'm going to battle, and I entrust my wife to you. Please look after my family and children, and so on. May God bless you and all that. The man didn't hesitate and went off to his battle. Our friend bought a pound of meat and went straight to the woman. As soon as she opened the door, she reached out her hand. Of course, back then, they didn't just open the door and all that. She reached out her hand to take it. He'd brought her something like a leg of lamb or something, so as she reached out her hand, he opened the door, went in, handed her the meat, and tried to hug her. Anyway, she refused, so he came to his senses and regretted what he'd done, just like Mr. Nabhan in number 2, who regretted what he'd done and wandered off into the mountains. I don't know, the first woman who doesn't refuse ends up regretting it, so what if she had agreed? Honestly, I don't know, but anyway, let's go along with the narrative. As they tell it, fine. I mean, really, this shift from desire to regret in a split second, this is something that, even on a psychological level, needs some analysis. But anyway, let's carry on. The important thing is, he came to his senses and wandered off into the mountains, angry with himself and all that. So, anyway, our man returned from his adventure. So, the man from Tarkif came and asked his wife, how are things and all that? And did that Ansari fellow notice anything or not? She told him, such and such happened. He asked her, how did that happen? He pulled himself together and went to look for him. He searched for him in the mountains until they caught him. Who brought him? They grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and took him to whom? They took him to Abu Bakr al-Siddiq. He said to him, this lad, I entrusted him with my wife. He went and bought her a piece of meat, and now he wants to commit an indecency with her. So I've brought him to you. Let's see how you'll deal with him. Abu Bakr said to him, what exactly did he say? God is more protective over the warrior who goes out to battle or a raid than he is over the one who stays at home. Meaning, your punishment is a problem. Anyway, what happened next? He grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and went to whom? To Umar ibn al-Khattab, and told him the same thing. After that, he took him straight to the Prophet and told him the same thing. God is more protective over the warrior than the one who stays at home. Then verse 136 was revealed, saying those meaning those who were mentioned previously in verse 135. Those are the ones who, when they commit an indecency or wrong themselves, remember God. Now, we notice, their reward is forgiveness from their Lord and gardens beneath which rivers flow, abiding therein forever. How excellent is the reward of those who work righteousness. What is meant here by those whose reward is mentioned are the ones in verse 135, the ones just mentioned. That's it. Very good. The phrase gardens beneath which rivers flow, this one. This was, always a response. Water was always mentioned in the stories of paradise, that rivers flow beneath it. This was to fulfill a deep-seated desire within the Arabs, because the desert had a very profound effect on them. There was absolutely no water. They used to dig with great hardship just to get a little water to drink. So the promise of paradise always included not just food, drink, and the maidens of paradise, but also the rivers. 137. Many ways of life have passed away before you, so travel through the land, and see what was the end of those who denied the truth. Here, God is speaking to the believers, those who were wounded in the battle of Uhud, those who were injured and so on, because the Muslim believers were really badly treated in the battle of Uhud. Their defeat was not an ordinary one, it was a crushing defeat. Exactly. He is telling them that there were peoples before you who denied, that is, they did not obey. They did not obey my prophets, like Ad, Tamud, Hud, and Lot. So they went against the commands of my prophets, so I gave them respite, led them on, and then punished them. So don't do as they did, and disobey the Prophet Muhammad, so that you don't suffer the same punishment or fate. All right then, who is saying this? It is Al-Tabari. That's right, it's very clear. I have no questions about it or anything. So, everything is going smoothly. 138. This is a clarification for the people, and a guidance, and an admonition for the God-fearing. Clarification here means the Quran. This Quran, this is what we are talking about. So this clarification, or this Quran, is for the people. He's saying that clarification here means Quran. That's Al-Qurtubi. All right. 139. Do not lose heart and do not grieve, for you are the superior ones, if you are believers. Do not lose heart and do not grieve. It means do not weaken or become cowardly in front of your enemies. You must strive and you must fight your enemies. Because your enemies killed Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib, Musabi ibn Umar, and 70 others from the Ansar. So do not be cowardly in front of them, and do not weaken. This is the meaning of do not lose heart and do not grieve, for you are the superior ones. Be careful here, because there are people who think that you are the best. It means that you are the most important. No, it actually means you are higher up, you are the ones on the mountain. The story goes that when the Muslims retreated, they fled and went down to the foot of the mountain. The polytheists wanted to climb up the mountain to be above the Muslims. So the Prophet prayed to Allah. At that moment, when the Muslims were defeated and had come down from the top of the mountain, the polytheists climbed to the top of the mountain. So the Prophet prayed to Allah, saying, O Allah, do not let them rise above us. Good. So they would be the ones above us. Then the Muslims climbed the mountain again, and they became the ones on top. Meaning, they got ahead again. They overtook the polytheists and climbed to the top of the mountain. Here, they became the ones who were higher up. Good. Not higher in status. In this case, higher in position, geographically speaking. Good. Not higher because they are Muslims or because they are more important. No, here, the verse means the higher ones, as in physically higher, at the top of the mountain. That's the whole idea. The important thing is, what does it mean? And of course, when they reached the top, they started shooting arrows at the polytheists, and throwing things at them and so on. until they defeated them. The one saying all this is saying that the higher ones refers to being higher up the mountain, not higher in status. 2. Is saying this, Al-Baghawi and Al-Tabari. What does the end of the verse say? If you are believers. Means when you were believers. When you were believers. It doesn't mean, it's a condition, not if. Not if only, it means when you were believers. Alright, 140. If a wound touches you, and this is the last verse, I hope we can get through this quickly, so you don't get worried about us. If a wound touches you, a similar wound has touched the other people. Such days we alternate among people, so that Allah may make evident those who believe, and take martyrs from among you. And Allah does not love the wrongdoers. If a wound touches you, what does that mean? If you were defeated on the day of Uhud, a similar wound has afflicted the other people, meaning if you Muslims were defeated, this wound means defeat. If you Muslims suffered a wound at Uhud, then the polytheists suffered a wound or defeat at Badr. If you were defeated here, they were defeated here. Don't worry. Such days we alternate, meaning sometimes you are victorious. Once he was defeated, the Muslims were victorious at Badr and the polytheists were defeated at Badr. But then it happened again. The Muslims were defeated at Uhud and the polytheists were victorious at Uhud. So these are days that we alternate between people. All right, good. Which means one day is for victory and another for defeat. So who is saying these words? The one who says, if you are wounded, meaning if you are defeated. The polytheists have suffered a similar wound, and these are the days we alternate among people, and so on. The one who says these words. All of these things, all of these meanings. Al-Baghawi, in fact, says, so that Allah may know those who believe. And here, Al-Qurtubi says, so that Allah may distinguish the believer from the hypocrite. So this war was Uhud. Its reason, according to God, to know, so that he may know, so that he may distinguish the believer from the hypocrite, God. But my question is, was there really no other way for God to distinguish between the believer and the hypocrite except through war? There's no other way. Is war really the only method? That can't be right. Honestly, even I'm not comfortable with it. Yes. Even Al-Qurtubi's view on the matter, because he says, what does the verse itself say? You say, they are. If you have suffered a wound, the other people have suffered a similar wound as well. Fine. And such days we alternate among people. And so that God may know those who believe. Honestly, what he says is, Al-Qurtubi says, he says, so that God may distinguish the believer from the hypocrite. So all this war and all these deaths are just so that God can distinguish the believer from the hypocrite. He can't distinguish without all that. That's one point. The second question, honestly, what's the wisdom behind the war and before? And so that he may know. And so that he may know. I ask me about my understanding, my way of understanding. And such days we alternate among people. To know. Not. And so that he may know. Why is there a conjunction war here? Why? I don't understand it. Here, take the verse again, for the last time. If you have suffered a wound, the other people have suffered a similar wound. And such days we alternate among people. So that God may know those who believe. Not and so that he may know. I don't know. To be honest, I couldn't figure out this war. As I was calmly reading the verse, I just couldn't grasp it. That war, and so that he may know, we're supposed to have here. And such days we alternate among people, so that we may know, not and so that we may know. I mean, what comes before it that would require a war? If you already have a war before it, and such days we alternate among people, what's the point of it, then? To teach, not to teach. There's nothing here to add, really. I mean, what could I say? For example, I could say, we will go for food, work, and tourism. So, what's the addition here before? And so that he may know? I don't get it. Anyway, the next point, actually, is where it says, and he may take martyrs from among you. Which is what? So that he may give, grant, or honor, with martyrdom those who desire it at Uhud. This war was also one of the reasons, not only to distinguish, but also to help those who wanted to be martyred. You want to be martyred? Go ahead. Off you go. May God be with you. Be martyred, mate. And so martyrdom becomes one of the objectives. So, it's both for God to distinguish and for those who wish to be martyred, to put their trust in God. I thank you. Many thanks.